You were at one time known as part of the Wacko Twins, so I was going to ask you, by your standards, of course, what's the wackiest stunt you remember taking part in?
Well, first let me say this to you. We were originally known by two nicknames. One was the Goldust Twins, which I frankly preferred, or the Wacko Twins, which the public preferred. We got that nickname because of some of the creative things we did for publicity. We brought a leprechaun in the ring to hex an opponent for Jerry Cooney, who we gave a long stem rose to Howard Davis's opponent. After the fight, I said, "What
was the fight for the Cooney? Which one the hex?
It was Sam McGill, and I brought a leprechaun in the ring, and I didn't realize that McGill was superstitious, and he wrote a long letter to the commission not to allow the leprechaun in to hex him. I mean, we did so many things. Ronnie Harris, who had a huge afro. We made him, well, let me put it this way. He sued the State Athletic Commission because we said he was a black Jew and they wouldn't allow him to fight with a yarmulke. We had leprechauns in the ring. We had a gorilla that we brought to Madison Square Garden when they said they wouldn't use Ronnie Harris. They couldn't find anyone to fight him. We brought a 750-pound live gorilla. There were 1,500 people. It made the early edition of the Post waiting to see the gorilla. We broke into Rahway State Prison with a light heavyweight named Bobby Cassidy. I didn't realize that all his friends had warrants out because they said they were going to check warrants, and all of a sudden the 40 or 50 guys all dispersed. I mean, there's many things that we did. We challenged with Ronnie Harris, Rodrigo Valdez. We said if he would take the fight, Harris would play chess with Bobby Fischer in between rounds and would whistle "America the Beautiful" during the round. I mean, you know, there's many things we did to try to get recognition and frankly to generate publicity for our fighters, and that's how the name came to Wacko Twins.
How did the name Goldust come about? Because Michael Morley claims that's not true. That's what he's telling me. I don't know. You want to respond to that?
Michael's memory again is we like Michael Morley, and he's a very creative guy, and sometimes I get the biggest kick out of his articles. The Goldust Twins, and tell Michael I've got a magazine articles, but it was given to us by Bob Waters, one of the great sports writers, a legendary sports writer for Newsday. He maintained we were the Goldust Twins because of our background in real estate and some financial investments we had made. And that's where in fact, the Goldust Twins preceded the Wacko Twins, but the Wacko Twins is I guess is a more catchy moniker. You know, you call me anything you want, as long as you don't call me late for dinner, as long as you make the check out correctly.
I got you. Well, let me ask you this. There are those that claim that you're responsible for the race element in the Holmes-Cooney fight. You know, and I want you to respond to that. You know, if you think that maybe somebody misunderstood you, or who was responsible for that in the first place?
Without any doubt, it was Don King. First of all, okay, it's reprehensible from a moral standpoint. Cooney, when I gave a line, it's not important if you're black or white, just how you throw your left or right. Okay, had a tremendous amount of black fans. There was no reason, you know, the 15% of racists, be black or white, would see a picture of the guy and draw their own conclusion. The majority of people are going to view a guy. My favorite fighter was always Sugar Ray Robinson. It didn't matter if he was black, white, red, yellow. It was the style. It was his grace in the ring. It made no sense to make this a black-white issue. Frankly, Holmes did it. King fueled the fires. It was morally reprehensible, and financially it could have been a disaster because people could have been afraid to go to a closed circuit. There was no need for it. There's never a need for this in the world. You judge a person by their quality as a human being, okay? Not by the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I abhor. If people knew my background, I was almost lynched by the Ku Klax Klan. I was an activist in human rights when it was when you had to put your life on the line.
I want to interrupt for a second. Can you talk a little about when were you almost lynched? Because I mean, you had mentioned that to me before, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, these were during I would say the early 60s. I went to an open housing meeting. Believe it or not, it was in Long Island. I went with a black gentleman named David Liege, and because we were talking about that there were Berlin Walls in the U.S. as well as as well as in Germany, and a threat to freedom anywhere is a threat to freedom everywhere. And when we told people what the truth was about open housing and let a person live whatever their pocketbook permits them and desire directs them, people grabbed a rope, and we didn't realize it at the time, but this was it was in Roosevelt, Long Island, which today is black, but at that time there was a niche of Ku Klux Klan. And if it wasn't for a member of the clergy, we may have been, the lynching may have been culminated. But myself and my whole family were very active in, the civil rights movement. So, I mean, that's one accusation that really pisses me off. A lot of it was done when I said in the corner, America needs you. And this was a reference to conversation that me and Cooney had about that Holmes, in dealing with the public, wasn't a positive image. A retarded kid had asked him something, and he gave an ugly answer at that time. And I think, in all fairness, I think Larry has grown and is not the same man he was then. And we had bitter feuds at one time, and now we get along very well. But hey, these were mistakes that were made, and you can't judge somebody just by some errors. But I'm particularly sensitive on any of the racial accusations. Anyone that knows me, hey, my office is in an all-black area. I've had that office and never moved since 1970. My staff and my employees are 95% black. Okay, I mean it's foreign to me. To me, prejudice is a reflection of ignorance. I can dislike any individual, but I can't dislike 20 million people, 6 million people. I mean, how can you? I mean, you got to judge. There are black people I like, and there are black people I dislike. There are white people I like, dislike. You can't lump people together. I think this is simplistic and just ridiculous thinking.
Well, let me ask you, did you like how HBO handled the Legendary Nights episode on that fight?
Well,
there were some things you didn't like?
Yeah, I thought it was a good show on balance. There were some comments like that by that Putz, Barry Tompkins, and some other people that I thought was unfair. But I thought HBO did, tried to be fair, tried to be balanced in their portrayal.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. What do you most regret about those days when you were known as part of the Wacko Twins?
Losing in 1982 on the Holmes-Cooney fight. That's what I regret most. I'm a very competitive guy. I like winning as much as I like breathing. And, that was a regret and was a disappointment that lasted with me for quite some time. And frankly, on balance, I don't think Cooney was ever given the credit that he actually deserved. There were 3 Jerry Cooneys up to Norton, and then after he tore his rotator cuff, and people don't realize what kind of devastating puncher he was. I'm frankly given more credit than I truly deserve. People think that he was just a product that I made, and nobody had to make Jerry Cooney. Jerry Cooney's left hook spoke for itself.